Hello and welcome to our podcast. We are your hosts today, Sydney Day,
Schrodinger, aka Aaron Smith.
This one is called the Enneagram Non-Experts.
Yes.
We would love to say a quick thank you to our sponsors today.
Our 0 sponsors that we have.
We have 0 sponsors.
Yes.
This is a thank you in advance for all of you who will be signing up to sponsor us after
send
today.
Send a check.
Lots of money.
Venmo.
We accept anything.
Cash App.
Anyway, moving past that, welcome back to another episode of our podcast.
The Enneagram Non-Experts. We're happy to have you.
We are.
If I sound a little stuffed up, I am not doing any cocaine. Allergies, my friends. When, knock on wood, but I always say I never get sick, and then of course I get sick. It's like I used to make fun of my family so much for the allergy every time they have allergies, and then all of a sudden, I think it was last year, it was the very first year I got allergies, and I'm like, karma is a bitch.
Yeah, it's payback.
What comes around goes around. Justin
now we
Timberlake.
can all make fun of you.
I mean, you do that anyway.
It's so true, though. It's like such a wake-up call. I did the same thing with my mom because she would always get migraines and stuff, or she would always have a headache. And I'm like, really? You always have a headache? Like, there's no way.
I know.
And you get to adulthood and you're like, oh, shit.
You just, yeah.
You're like, oh, I get it. Headaches are a thing. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Anyway,
we have a very exciting interview today, but before we start the interview with this very special guest, I don't think you even know who they are anyway, but before we do the interview, we started a brand new segment last week where we posted on our Instagram.
Wait, that's for the end.
Oh.
Our segment is what's the most type 1 thing I did and what's the most type 2 thing.
I forgot about this last week.
Yeah, I know.
Maybe I have memory issues.
Something's going on in there.
The thing is, I remember deep details of certain things.
Huh.
Immaculate details. But then I can't remember this one freaking thing.
It's okay. You'll catch on eventually.
I don't know about that, actually. Okay. Actually, I take it back. But there is a segment that we did last week.
Yeah.
Where we say what was the most type thing that you did and what was the least of the type that you did.
Yeah. Do you have one that comes to mind?
Honestly, because I haven't thought about this question at all today.
Yeah.
Not really, but let me think about this.
Okay. I need to think for a second, too. I just have such a bad memory. I'm like, I don't even know what I did yesterday. Like, how am I supposed to remember this whole week?
I know. How about this? Just recap me quickly on your week. How was your week?
It was good.
What did you do?
I already thought of one, but
well,
I can still recap you if you just really need to know.
I do need to know.
I actually don't remember a single thing about the weekend. That was too long ago.
Okay.
But this week was really busy at work. Did a lot of working. Did a lot of editing our last video for our podcast.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah. Did a lot of watching TV.
Oh, me too.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
But my most Enneagram type 1 thing this week is probably, and honestly, it's hard. This is kind of a cop-out because this is something I do like every week, but can't think of anything better. But this week specifically, I got really strict again with my morning routine. And I think that's very type 1 because it's like the time in the morning where I get up, where I get my own time. No, the world is still asleep. PJ's still asleep, but also like I'm not getting work emails yet. It's like I get my time. Yeah. And I
used to do that at the coffee shop. You would get there 30 minutes early just so you could get a coffee.
Exactly.
Just smart. Like, prepares you to start your day, gives you something to look forward to in the morning.
Yeah, and part of it, and this is maybe the most type 1 part, is for me the morning is my most productive time because I'm not tired from the day yet. I'm like ready, and so I get everything done in the morning. So I get up and I like do my workout and go for a run and do meditation, and I started putting...
All in the morning?
Yeah, before work.
Oh my gosh. I go to Starbucks, eat my egg bites, and then I start work.
Yeah, well, that's why I'm a 1 and you're not.
That's true. But I did do a 1 thing.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but I want to.
No, that's the end of it. So, but you need to say your 2 thing.
Well,
you can say your 1 thing.
I feel like this
too.
week I haven't really been not myself, but like as much of a 2. I don't know. Maybe I think a 2 thing for me. Okay, for example, I had to been house sitting and I have to drive somebody around, and they give me the option of like, oh, they'll meet me somewhere closer. But I'm like, no, I'll pick you up from the place. Like, I'll drive all the way to downtown Seattle and do it. But honestly, I don't mind it. But I also think it's definitely like my motivation is like I'm doing it. What's the word? Because I like helping.
Yeah.
Like I like that. But a part of me is like, why am I doing that?
Yeah.
Why do I always do that? But I like it.
But if you like it, then there's nothing actually bad about that. I think where it gets unhealthy is if you were doing it because you were like trying to get something out of them, or you thought then they would owe you, or like, maybe, or if you just feel so guilty for making them meet you halfway, maybe that's something you can work on. But if you're genuinely just like, oh, I actually just enjoy the drive and I don't mind.
Yeah, I guess I don't feel that bad, but I mean, just like, I'm like, I don't know. I think that's a 2 thing that I realize. Like, I'm just like, oh, no, I'll go all the way down there. Like, I like to drive far and pick people up, or I like to.
Yeah, it is a 2 thing. You know what I love? Both of our things were like healthy type things. So we're doing good.
But I have been being a little bit of a 1 this week.
Okay. Do we want to go into then what's the least 2 thing you did? And then you can also add your type 1 thing?
Well, that is.
Oh, okay.
Well, I guess not the least 2 thing, but I think I've been like really proactive on lists recently.
Ooh,
and it's really helped like break things down easier for me, and like it makes me not stress because at work I have to like host 3 events in the span of a week.
Yeah.
And at first I was like, okay, but now I'm like, okay. And I made a list for each thing I needed, and I was like, oh, check, and then I would just like get what I needed for the list, and I would check the box, and it felt good.
Lists are magical.
I think you're right there.
It's like if you just need a serotonin boost, you just make a list and check some stuff off, and it's.
But I'm not I'm gonna cross off the whole thing person. I need a box and I need a check mark.
Oh yeah, same.
Okay, I'm glad we're on the same page.
Same. You can't just cross out the words. That's
no. Nice.
Yeah, I'm glad we can agree on that.
Yeah.
Thank God. Otherwise, I don't know what I would do.
I hear something. I think our interviewee's here.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, hold on. Let me get the door and get her. Wait, they can see me. Well, today we have a special guest. Some of you might know her, some of you might not. She goes by many names. But Squid is one of them. I guess I'll expose you there.
Now everybody knows.
Sid.
Me.
1.
Yes, so
welcome to our podcast.
I'm the special guest. I bet you guys weren't expecting that. We just thought, it's been a long time since we started this podcast. It's been almost 2 years, which is insane.
Wait, what? Yeah.
In December. So, I mean, a year and a half, whatever. Anyway, so it's been, a while. And we realized that for our new listeners, they might not know anything about us if they haven't listened to that first episode where we introduced ourselves. So we're doing a little fun thing. I say that every time. I'm always like, it's fun. It's a fun episode. I don't know that that's the right word to use. It'll
be a learning experience.
It's just an episode, but Erin's going to interview me today, and don't you fret, you Erin fans. She's going to get her moment to shine next week.
It's actually called the hot seat.
The hot seat, yeah.
Literally, when you asked me, I was like, I don't know if I'm prepared mentally this week for it.
Yeah.
Next week.
Next
week I'll prepare.
I didn't prepare at all, so maybe that's the least type 1 thing I did this week.
Yeah.
I'm like, I actually felt really happy that you were going to be interviewing me because that made me feel like I don't need to prepare. I'm like, oh, I'm just answering your questions. Like, so good. I'm glad that worked out.
Yeah. Well, oh, wait. We didn't talk about this question, but I think the people want to know.
What do they want to know? They
want to know, what is your go-to coffee drink?
Oh. This is really hard to answer. This is because I change it depending on my mood. I don't have a go-to. I have a few. I can give you a list. I know what you're going to say, but I love me some caramel lattes. Really good drink, everybody, is a dirty chai with just 1 pump of caramel. So good.
I will say cider with a little bit of caramel.
Yeah.
That's the only time I'll say caramel is acceptable.
Yeah. Yep.
Other than that, it's not.
But then some days I'm in the mood for like just a drip or an Americano. So it depends on my mood, depends on the weather. It depends on how much sugar have I already had that day, because I don't want to overdo it. So how about you?
I try not to drink coffee just because sometimes it gives me a stomach ache. But like if I have nothing going on that day, my go-to is a soy white mocha.
Yeah. White. Oh, you know what?
Iced.
Oh, interesting.
I'm an ice girl.
Yeah. Even when it's cold? Wow. I was going to say, though, the toasted white mocha that Starbucks does in the winter, that is my go-to drink when it's winter. I will drink that every single day.
I love like peppermint mochas or chestnut praline at Starbucks is really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Nice. All right. Well, are you ready for the first question?
I'm ready.
It's kind of weird because I'm getting like deja vu from when like we first would talk about these things. Like, I mean, the first question we've talked about before, but I'm like, my mind is jumping to my own experience, like talking with you about it. But I'll just go to the first question and not keep people on their toes.
It's also interesting that I bet you our answers have changed a little, which is also why I'm happy we're doing this again. Because, I mean, you change a lot in a year and a half at our age.
That's true.
So
that's true.
Yeah.
So first question, tell us a little bit about how you found out about the Enneagram and your type. Like, did you take a lot of tests?
Yeah, and I'm going to preface this by saying I have the worst memory of my past, like of anybody I've ever met. So
yeah, you do.
Yeah. So if you listened to our first episode and what I tell you now is not the same as what I said then, I am not lying on purpose. I just probably don't really remember all the details. I just need to say that. Sometimes I'm afraid people think I'm lying when I tell stories and stuff if I've already told the story and then I tell it again and like some details are different.
Yeah.
That's like one of my biggest fears is being like caught in a lie, but I'm not actually purposefully lying.
Yeah.
I just literally have the worst memory. Anyway.
Yeah, that's happened to me a couple times.
Yeah. I'm like, no. Anyway, let's see. I don't actually remember at all how I like first heard about the Enneagram. I'm sure it was just like online, saw the test because I've always been into personality assessments. I think they're fun. I'm really into self-improvement and anything that can help me learn more about myself and other people I'm into. So I'm sure I just stumbled across it, but I honestly don't remember. And took a test, which at the time I didn't know that tests are not really the best way to find your type. They're pretty inaccurate. So at that time in my life, I tested as a type 4. And it felt true. And I honestly like didn't read about any of the other types. I was like, all right, I'm a 4. Read about the 4 and I was like, yeah, sounds good. Like I definitely like to be like unique and I'm an artist and I'm not afraid of my emotions. And so I like to go deep. I don't like small talk. So there was all these pieces of the 4 that I was like, yeah, let's check in some boxes. So I sat with that for a little while, maybe a year, maybe less than a year. And then I kind of started during that time reading more about all of the Enneagram types. And just briefly, I didn't really go in depth on any of them, but I took another test and paid more attention to kind of like my top 3 results rather than just my top 1, and type 6 was in there. And I thought, okay, let's compare 6 and 4. I read about the 6, and then that one seemed a lot more accurate than the 4. And pieces of that felt accurate to me were like just this, the planner, being the planner, always kind of like thinking about, I just think I think of things through thoroughly. Mm-hmm. I have anxiety and I, at that point in my life, felt like I was someone who a lot of my friends went to for comfort and advice and to talk to and confide in, which all of that felt like a 6 thing. And I thought I was a 6 for a long time. And I really thought that more than I ever thought before, until finally, and what I don't remember is how long was in between all these things, maybe a couple of years in total. Finally, it just never really felt completely right. Like, I think you did your test and the 2 just hit you so much and so deeply. And I was like, I just didn't feel like that with either of mine.
And even all the tests that I did were the same.
Yeah, they all said 2. And so I was like, it just doesn't feel right. So I really put more time into actually thoroughly reading about the types and learning about the Enneagram as a system rather than just like, which one am I? Like a fun thing. I really started learning and learned about how you really need to pay attention to the core motivations, the fear and the desire, not the behavior. And that helped me because then when I read about the type 1, which honestly I had avoided reading about because I didn't like that they were called the perfectionist. Everything I heard about them just didn't feel accurate to me. I don't consider myself a perfectionist. Mm-hmm. I think I'm pretty chill a lot of the time. And so I just didn't think I'd be a 1. But when I read the motivation of the 1 and read their fears, their desires, and just a little bit on that, it just hit my heart so deep. And the part about like wanting to be a good person specifically, because that is something I have felt my whole life is like, I have this fear that one day I'm going to be like found out that I am a bad person. And if I'm not really careful about everything I do, people will see through and see that I'm bad. And so that like, I was like, oh, shit. And yeah, that the rest is history. Yeah. I've been a 1 ever since.
Well, and we always say, like, I think every episode on the podcast, we're like, it's the type that hurts the most.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, exactly.
What hurts the most?
Being so close.
Rascal Flatts. Well, the next question was pretty much the same. It's like, how familiar are you? But obviously we have a podcast on the Enneagram, so I'm thinking a lot. I think we know
just
putting amount. That out there.
Yeah. Yeah. I will say the last like 6 to 12 months, I've learned a lot more than I ever knew before about it.
Sorry to interrupt, but I was going to say, what is something, from the past to now that maybe you learned about the Enneagram or even about yourself that you didn't before?
That's a good question.
Thank you.
I think when it comes to the Enneagram, I've just learned a lot more about the complexities of the system, because when you first learn it, really, I would recommend not learning about the complexities. Focus on just the 9 types, figure out who you are, let that sink in. But once you're comfortable there's so much to explore. So I think before this year, I didn't really know much about, the instincts. I didn't know much about the centers, like the body type, heart type, head type, and what that meant. I learned about tri-type theory this year, and that's really cool. That's just essentially that, and some people buy into this, some people don't. But I just find it interesting.
Yeah.
In my opinion, if it works for you, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. That's what matters. I don't know if you need to like believe in it or not. It's just, is it helping you? Then great. If it's not, throw it away. But tri-type is just this idea that we actually, each of us has our main type, but then we also heavily relate to another type within the 2 other centers. So like I'm a 1, which is part of the body center. So then I also have a secondary type that's in the head center. and one that's in the heart center. And when I learned that, I was like, oh my God, well, there's my 6 and 4.
Yeah.
So it kind of makes sense that, like, you know, sometimes I'm like, am I actually a 6? And then I'm like, well, if that's part of my tri-type, like, you kind of have all of these pieces in you.
Yeah.
So that was really interesting to explore. And now as I continue to, like, try to learn about other people and their types, it's helpful to know all this, because especially if we're like typing TV characters, and I now feel like I've learned how to better type people and type yourself. And it's not just like based on the 9 types. It's based on like, how do you react to your feelings? And that might tell you which center you're in. And then, you know, yada, yada.
Yeah. No, I had a very similar experience where it's like, I don't know, not to talk about myself, but like, I get what you mean, because I feel like a lot of people think, oh, you're just one type, but like, we're all the types. It's just like exploring all the types and how you relate to each type. And like, even though one type might be like, the 3s are known to be the hard workers, doesn't mean the rest of them aren't hard workers. Like, yeah,
exactly. Well, and that's such a good call out too, is like, I think some people who are new to it think there's like good types and bad types. And I just like want everyone to know, like, that is so not true. There's good people and bad people, and they can exist in any Enneagram type. That's why you have to explore the health levels of your type, because if you're an unhealthy any type, that's bad. But if you're a healthy any type, we all have great things to offer, and there's no bad type and there's no good type.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Rant over.
Drop the mic, but not literally, because these are probably expensive.
Yes. We might get in trouble by PJ if we do that.
Well. Anyway. I don't think that would stop me. Well. Just kidding. Getting in trouble? No, thanks. So.
Wait, sorry to interrupt. Yeah. Do you know your tri-type?
Like my the 3. Yeah, I think it's like 2, 8. My health and growth.
No. That's different than tri-type. Not where you go in growth and health, or in.
Like the 3 types you're most like?
Of the head center, heart center, body center. So like you are 2. So then you'd either have to be a 5, 6, 7 as your second.
Okay.
And then an 8, 9, 1 as your third. I would guess for you that you'd be a 2, 6. The third one's hard.
I was going to say 6. Wait, the other 3.
8, 9, 1.
8, 9, 1.
Maybe 1.
Yeah, I would say 1, only because I'm like, I do really care about being good. And I do like embody some 1 qualities.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say 1. But I would not say 9.
Yeah, I wouldn't say 9. I think
It'd be
8 or 1.
Yeah, or 1. I'm feisty. Just kidding. It's more internally, but sometimes, you know, it comes out. I can't help it.
It's true. It's true.
Anyway, this kind of doesn't seem like it's fully related, but it'll go into it. But
Okay.
What does your ideal day look like? Like as maybe a type 1, or even just, you know, as yourself.
Yeah. My ideal day.
You don't have to say hanging with Aaron, because, I mean, that's pretty obvious. That's your ideal day, but whatever.
It's hard for me to be super specific, because I'm such a, like, I do things based on how I feel. Like, for example, like for my birthday every year, I don't make plans because I want to be able to wake up that day and do whatever I feel like. But I will say, like, some general things that would make an ideal day for me are, I want to get up fairly early. I would like to sleep in a little, but I don't want to sleep in till 10. I want to get up like, 7:30, 8, and lazy, roll out of bed, take my time, and
physically roll. Are you doing a somersault?
I am doing parkour.
Okay.
Yeah. So picture this.
Okay.
Roll out of bed. I go parkour.
Okay. We're watching The Office.
And then I think just like getting outside first thing in the morning is really nice. So going on a walk by myself. I think I need my me time in the morning. Go on a walk, come back, have some coffee, like just kind of have a lazy morning. And then I don't know. Like, honestly, I think my ideal day is just relaxing. Like, I want to have no responsibilities. So, and not feel guilty about it. So just like watch whatever TV show I feel like watching. Maybe I'll play some Sims. Maybe I will.
Sims.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Maybe I'll take some photos. Maybe, you know, whatever. And then I would want to spend some time with probably just close friend, like you, PJ, maybe like my, like Vanina and the kids. Yeah. Anyway, that's it.
That makes sense. Well, and also like we've talked about like you on vacations, because I feel like even ones are very much like sometimes I feel like they're working a lot, or they're always like they always have a task at hand, or things are very structured. And I feel like when ones are on vacation, or honestly just mostly you that I know, like vacation is the perfect time to relax and like not think about anything.
Yeah, well, that is like
great for a one.
Totally. It's like this, people are always shocked, I think, by ones on vacation because they look like sevens. It's like, all of a sudden, it's like, no, now that I'm on vacation, it's like it's because I think ones have this black and white way of thinking. And so vacation is vacation. Work is work. So if I'm working, I'm working. I'm not dilly-dallying. If I'm vacationing, I am vacationing. So you can do the planning. You can organize everything.
That doesn't sound fun to me. But
just tell me where to be, and I'm just going to chill. I'm not going to think about anything, because that's what vacation is. It's the rules of vacation.
I'm like the opposite.
Yeah.
I love to do a ton of stuff, like plan a million things, like go to all the best, like touristy places.
Yeah.
Like just laying by the pool, I would get so bored or something.
Yeah. See, it's a mix for me. I need to do things too, but I just don't want to plan it all, because that's just like, obligations. I don't want any obligations on vacation. Yeah.
All right.
Just
to each
so you
their
know.
own. So what's your favorite music genre, and what do you like about it? There is a right answer.
I don't think this has changed since the last time we talked about this in our last Get to Know Me episode. I like first of all, I only like happy music. And I don't mean upbeat. It can be slow, but I like good vibes. I do not ever listen to sad music, because it's just like, why would this is going to make me sad. Why do I want to feel sad? I don't. So that's first and foremost happy music. And so genre-wise, it really doesn't matter. I like all genres, but if I had to pick a favorite, it's like the acoustic, like Lumineers, Brandy Carlisle, kind of Americana acoustic stuff, or show tunes.
Yep.
Disney music.
Yep.
But yeah, mostly just good vibes. I've never been able to understand why people enjoy sad music. Like I can rationalize it.
That's so interesting, because I like sad music.
Yeah.
Well, and it's kind of weird that you bring it up, because I was in the car yesterday picking someone up, and they literally were like, why are you listening to this? Like, I was listening to Save Myself by Ed Sheeran.
I don't even know that
he's
song.
talking about like he's taking other people's breaths so that he can breathe for them and stuff like that. It's like deep.
That sounds like a 2 thing.
But the thing is, like, I don't know, like the melody is very calming. So it's not even that I'm like listening to it and like tearing up or like getting emotional by it. It's just like,
it's just
like
good.
The
you
song.
just like the song. That's fair.
Ready?
All right. I am. I'm
okay.
ready.
This is a little more of a hot seat question.
Okay.
But what is your relationship with anger? How do you express it?
Yes. I don't know how to answer this.
Okay. Moving on. Next question.
I just think like it depends. It depends on the situation. It depends on why I'm angry. It depends on who I'm angry with. Like, and I will react differently depending on all those things. And so I think for the most part with friendships and acquaintances or like work, people I'm not as close to, I don't think I really get angry. Like things don't really, I just don't care enough. Like if there's no stakes, right? If I don't know you that well, if we're not that close, it's like, I just don't care. I don't care what you think. I don't care what you're doing. Like, so
She doesn't care.
Yeah, I might get like a little bit like irritated, and that's the stereotype of the one, which I definitely fit into, is my anger comes out as irritation. So I might get annoyed, frustrated, but I'm probably not going to say anything. And I'm not going to blow up or anything. I'm pretty like even keel. But when it comes to really close relationships, like the more emotional stakes are in it, the more fueled my anger gets. And so if I'm in an argument with like my mom or my boyfriend or, you know, someone who's close, I do get a little bit explosive. Not a little bit. I can get really explosive. And it's something I really don't like about myself is like, I just, when I get worked up, it's like, I cannot control it. It just like bursts. So that's how I react to anger. My relationship with anger internally is, I think it's fine to be angry. I'm not trying to hide it. I think my goal is to manage how I react to my own anger. Because I haven't gotten there yet where I can react to anger in a really healthy way. I either kind of ignore it or I explode. So, you know, there's a balance there where you can process. I think I need to learn to process a little better how I'm feeling, where it's coming from. I think maybe similar to like a type 8. Sometimes I just act before thinking. And so, you know, anger is always spawned by another emotion. Anger is a secondary emotion. Yeah. So it's got to be like coming from sadness or fear or something else. And I never get to that point because I either blow up or I push it aside. Yeah. And I'm not getting that deeper, like, actually, why did that make me angry? And I think that's where I need to do my most growth.
Yeah. Well, what are some things that make you angry? Like pet peeves or...
Pet peeves. So pet peeves, I mean, don't make me angry. More just like, ugh, stupid people. And those are like, again, stereotypical, but I freaking hate when people don't wave to me in traffic when I let them in. That's a pet peeve.
I did not see that coming.
It drives me insane, especially if I'm like going out of my way to let them in. If it's just a normal merge, fine. That's just, I didn't do anything special. But if I did something nice and let you in, you better freaking wave to me.
This just in, folks. Do not forget to wave to Sydney.
I'm telling you. So that's a big pet peeve. I think, what else? A pet peeve that's a little more like real, like serious, or gets me a little more, it's more emotional. I don't like when I'm not being heard. Like, you know, you ever talk to people who just like, there's different ways this can happen. Either people who are like so focused on themselves that they just never even pause to take in that there's another human here. Like, that drives me crazy when I can't get a word in. Or if you're like, the other thing, this drives me probably more crazy, is when people just think that they are right about everything and they're not willing to like have a discussion or hear any other opinions. Like that drives me crazy. Like, just be humble, people. Understand that none of us know the absolute truth. And so it's all about discussing, and it's cool to have a good debate. I'm down with that, but you have to be willing to hear me. Yeah. And I have to be willing to hear you. And I think the reason that drives me so crazy is actually, this is hard for me to admit, but that I'm really bad at that. I'm the person who thinks I'm right and can't hear other people out. And so it drives me crazy when other people do that to me. And it's such like, it's so not fair for me to say that. So, but you know, the things, your bad habits are what you notice in other people. So.
No, I totally understand you. Like, especially with the first one of, like when people aren't listening to you, or like you're trying to say something and they're like talking over you, but not even in just like, sometimes people accidentally talk over someone, but in I'm going to talk about myself the whole time and like not even hear you out. Like it makes you feel like your voice doesn't matter, or you don't even matter, and you're like, well, you're just sitting there like, what do I do now type of thing.
Yeah, it's like, why are we even spending time together?
Yeah.
Did you just need a body to talk at?
Yeah.
Because I feel like I could just be a wall and it wouldn't even matter to you.
You're like, here, let me take this picture of myself, put it on the wall, and it's like I'm there.
Exactly.
No, I'm very similar.
Yeah.
So when you were saying that, I was like, oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's how I feel.
Exactly. Yeah. Feelings.
Love them. Are you ready for the last question?
Last question already.
I know.
Oh, I know what it is, and I'm not ready, but it's fine.
You know what it is?
Yes.
Oh, wait. Yeah, we created them together. All right. What's your favorite color?
No.
Just kidding.
Green.
No, but seriously. Oh, okay. All right, folks. That's it. Just kidding. Okay, real last question. Is there a TV show or movie character you most relate to, and why?
I feel like I need to do a different one than last time.
Wait.
What?
I don't remember even last time because I hate listening to the podcast because I hate the sound of my own voice.
Because our podcast sucks. That's why.
Okay. I don't. I thought I waved to you.
Wait, what?
Just kidding. Wait. Can I guess?
Yeah.
I don't think you're like this person, but I swear you said you had similar, but it's gonna come out wrong.
What? No,
Thanos.
Thanos.
Did you?
That's not what I said last time, but
Okay.
yeah, I have said that before.
Okay, that's what I thought. I didn't want to be like you.
No, look, I would never
Kill
actually.
a lot of people. I don't mean like that.
But I get it. Like he is definitely a one, and the parts of him I can relate to is just like he has an idea of what is the best thing for humanity. Now the problem is he's a little wrong about that, but ones can be self-righteous, and he actually thinks he's doing good. He thinks if you cut the population in half, that's going to create more resources, more everything, and everybody who's still alive will be happy. And that part, I'm like, yeah, that checks out. I mean, honestly, like our world, our real current world, we do worry about overpopulation for those reasons. Now, is the right thing to do to just kill half the people? Maybe not. Maybe there's some other ways to go about that. But
yeah, like go to Mars.
yeah. But no, I'm trying to think of some other characters. It's always the bad characters that I relate to.
I think I know what you're going to say.
No, you don't. You've never seen this show.
Oh, but you know what I'm thinking of?
What?
You said bad characters, and all of a sudden I thought of the one.
Jack.
Yeah.
That's what I said in our first episode,
Yeah, okay,
so
that's
I'm trying
what I
not to
thought.
cheat. No, I was going to say Skylar White from Breaking Bad, which, y'all, roll your eyes at me. She's like one of the most hated characters of all time. But
Never seen that show.
I always sympathized with her. And I don't know if I even think she's a one, but I always sympathized with her because Walter White is the most despicable human on planet Earth. That's her husband, by the way. I know you haven't seen it. He's the main guy.
He's the one that does the drugs?
Selling
or
meth.
makes the drugs?
Makes it and
makes
sells
the
it.
meth.
And he's hiding that from her. She starts catching him in lies and figuring out he's doing this, and gets understandably really upset about it. And she's just trying to keep her family together and like keep him accountable and keep everybody accountable and doing the right thing.
Why do people not like her then?
Because she's kind of bitchy about it. But I'm like, doesn't she have every right to be? Like, what the hell? Anyway, I will rant about that forever. I am Team Skylar for life. I hated Walt from the very beginning.
I have to watch it just so I can see how you relate to this character.
She's just like a mom who she wasn't the best wife to him either before the whole meth thing. So that part I get why people don't like her, but it's just like she just was trying to do the right thing.
Well, the only thing because as much as I didn't like Jack, I do see like the positives in him being a one. Like I feel like a lot of ones are like great leaders. Like I feel like they take charge a lot. Mm-hmm. They can be stubborn sometimes, but like honestly, sometimes like You got to do what you got to do because, like, I've noticed, like, wishy-washy people are starting to annoy me.
Yeah.
And, like, I'd rather someone at this point just be like, this is what we're doing.
Yeah.
Like, I'd be like, okay, you know what?
Yeah.
You made a decision, and that's what matters.
Yeah. And Jack was also the same way as, like, Thanos, where, like, his intentions, I think, were always good. Maybe not always, but mostly good. Like, he really just wanted to help, but he just went about it the wrong way. And that's very one. It's like you have an idea in your mind of what is right. And even if that's not objectively right, you believe it is. And so you will do anything to do that thing. And so I do relate to that. Is like, if I have my mind on something and I just really feel that something is the right thing, I'm going to do it no matter what. And I'm probably going to try to convince you to do it too, because that's the right thing to do. You know what I mean?
I'll do it. Just tell me. I'll do it.
Okay.
I'll do it.
Good to know.
Yeah.
That's why we're friends.
Yeah. Well, you answered all my hot seat questions. Thanks for being on the podcast today. We appreciated having you this week.
You're welcome. I came a long way to be here.
A full 0 steps.
I scooted back a little on my chair.
All right. Well, hey, that's something.
Look, that's more work than I want to put in on my ideal day.
Okay.
So,
well, thank you, Sydney Day, for joining us. And welcome back our other host, Sydney Day.
oh my God. How did the conversation go?
Oh, terrible. I don't want her back on this podcast.
Good. I don't think we have to have her back.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
It's good to have you back.
Did we have a question from the fans? You teased it earlier.
I took the question I asked you already.
Oh.
It was the coffee question. Oh. Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Well,
now we know what coffee you want.
yeah, but we know that Aaron doesn't really drink coffee.
Oh, that's true. Usually I've been getting matchas at Starbucks, but I have also been losing money because of it. Because apparently if you want something from Starbucks, you have to give them money. Isn't that crazy?
It's such a shame.
It is a shame. Anyway, well, thanks for listening, folks.
Yes. Thank you, and come again.
That's what she said.
And next week, we have another special guest, and it's going to be...
I don't know.
Shrody.
Actually can't be here next week.
Shut the front door.
Okay.
Yeah, so stick around, and we'll have Aaron's episode next.
Good luck. To myself. That was rhetorical.
Oh, my God. All right. Well, goodbye, everybody. See you next week.